Hi and welcome to your class. I'm Laura and today's class is a slower pace sequence. We will think of it as a lower body or like a leg day restorative class. So we're going to work into the lower body, gentle movements, longer holds, and just some slower pace stuff so we can kind of open up into the hamstrings and take it a little easy into the legs. Let's get started onto our backs and lie down on our mat. Lowering down onto your mat, go ahead and extend both of the legs out long. And your arms can come out into a low V. From here, we're going to stand, or actually lie down, just as we would stand in our mountain pose. So our feet are about hip width distance apart. And then we're going to take the left foot and start to draw the left foot in until the sole of the foot comes to either across from the knee or maybe even just above the right knee. And from here, allow the left knee to open as you would if you were standing in your tree pose. Now, if your knee hovers above the ground, that's fine. And let's lift the knee up and slowly extend the knee out, just gliding the left foot along the mat. Once more, start to slowly draw the left knee in, coming to whatever height feels good for you, and then allow the left hip to open up. Think about relaxing the glutes, relaxing the left hip, and allow the knee to release. Lift the knee up once more, glide the foot out. One last time, we'll allow the left foot to come in, pausing at the top, and the left knee opens. From here, place the left hand to the inside of that left inner thigh to anchor the left leg down. Again, it does not need to reach all the way down to the ground. We're just creating a nice gentle pressure onto the leg. You can take the right hand and rest it onto the right hip. So if you feel your right hip starting to fall over to the left side, use your right hand as a gentle reminder to keep that hip anchored. From here, slowly breathe. Think about relaxing the glutes. They might have a tendency to hold on and to grip. Allow that left hip flexor to open and give yourself a gentle push in the inside of that left inner thigh for a little more of a stretch. Enjoying our reclined tree pose. When you're ready, you can use the left hand just to lift that left knee up. Draw the right foot in. We're going to press into the mat to lift the hips up just about an inch or so off of the mat. And let's shift the hips over towards the left side about an inch or two. From here, we're going to come right away into a reclined twist. Allow both of the knees to drop over towards the right side of the mat. Now you can keep the knees stacked on top one or the other. If you would like to take a deeper twist, you can keep the right leg straight and allow the left knee to fall over to the side. The left knee can be lifted. You can also have a block or even a bolster supporting the left knee. Try to keep the left shoulder pinned onto the earth. The left arm can come out straight to the side in a T shape, or if you like, the cactus shape in a 90-degree position. You can also have your shoulder open in that direction. For your gaze, I always love a neutral gaze, but if you would like to turn towards the left and gaze towards the left palm or the left side of the room, you can take that option as well. Continue to breathe in your twist, waking up the spine as we slowly work into the lower body this morning. It is morning here, so this is the very first thing that I'm doing for today, so I get the full effects of just trying to unwind for the morning. And on the next inhale, let's go ahead and unwind ourselves. Come back flat onto the mat, resting onto your back. Once more, extending both of the legs out long. We'll take that small sequence over onto the other side. The hands and the arms are into a low V. The feet are just separated by about hip width distance apart. And from here, we're going to start to glide the right foot in till it reaches either just across from the left knee or above. And then we'll slowly open the right knee out to the side, actively using the hip flexors to make the opening. And then relaxing the glutes and the hips to allow that knee to fall to the side. When you're ready, slowly lift the knee back up. Glide the right foot out and away from you. And then we'll pull the foot back in, sliding along the mat, pausing as we come to the top, and then allowing the right knee to open again into our reclined tree pose. When you're ready, lift the knee. Trace your steps, returning to the leg fully extended, and then draw the right foot back in one more time, coming into reclined tree, allowing the right knee to fall open. Take the right hand, just allow it to rest gently onto the inside of the right inner thigh. The left hand can come to rest onto the left hip, providing your grounding anchor points so that we stay with the hip points facing up towards the ceiling, allowing the glutes to relax, and perhaps noticing a difference from one side to the other. I definitely have a big difference between my left and my right sides. Pausing here as we breathe. When you're ready, bring that right knee up. You can bring the left foot up to meet the right, and then from here we're going to push into the mat, lift the hips up again, preparing for a reclined twist to the left side. So either keeping the knees stacked and allowing them to fall over to the left, or you can extend that left leg out long and the right knee falls over the top. Waking up the spine, extend the right arm out long or come into a cactus shape. Fill up the back side of the lungs on your inhales. Maybe coming a little bit deeper into your twist on the exhales. On the next inhale, let's return to our back. And bring the feet and the shins up in line into a reclined tabletop position. The arms are in a low V. From here, we're going to do a little sensory movement by noticing what happens to our low back and into our core as we do some knee circles. Now, if it's too hard to have your arms in a low V as your anchor, you can take your hands to your knees and draw circles with your knees in that method. We're going to begin by starting to draw circles, clockwise circles, allowing the knees to fall slightly to the right, and then allow the knees to drop away from you as they extend out and you draw a nice big circle. Feet are still hovering. Notice how the low back starts to slightly lift up off of the mat. Continue to keep the strength in the core by drawing the belly button in. And then allow the knees to come up to the left as we complete our circle and then return back at the top. The low back fully connects with the mat, so you should feel everything connected and drawn in. We'll go ahead and do that 2 more times in this direction. Slowly continue to draw your circle and keep breathing. Keep the core drawn in. Stay strong. 1 more as we make our clockwise circle. Once we come up to the top, we're going to reverse our circles and go to the left. Notice how the right hip slightly picks up. You have to begin to engage your core, especially as the legs draw away from you and reach the bottom of our circle. Come up towards the right, returning back at the top. We'll take those rotations 2 more times in a slow and controlled manner. Still feeling our breath moving throughout our body, so we're using the breath to help control the movement. Last circle as we make our way to the bottom of the circle and then return to the top. From here, we'll go ahead and lower the right foot down to the mat. Interlace the fingers behind the left knee. Start to draw the left knee into the chest. And we're going to wake up the back hamstring. From here, let's keep the foot flexed. And then we're going to go ahead and extend the left foot only until we feel just a slight stretch on the back of the left leg. So just starting to work into the back of the left hamstrings. Ease into those nerves that run down the back of the left leg. Continue to pump the left leg up towards the ceiling. Take your time. We'll take about 5 of these movements. We're not going to go too deep into the hamstrings because, as I said, this is a restorative class. If you did a lot of lower body work this week, we don't want to go too much further into the legs. This is just a gentle class to allow ourselves to kind of ease out any soreness, but yet work a little deeper into the joints. From here, we're going to move into our half happy baby. So take your left hand and draw it to the outside of the left foot. Start to draw the left knee in and down towards that left armpit. If you would prefer, you can keep the right knee bent and the sole of the foot flat onto the floor, or you can start to extend the right leg out long whenever you feel ready and open enough to do so. Continue to breathe. Use the weight of that left arm just to draw that knee down and in. Should be a big stretch still onto the back of these left hamstrings and, of course, into that left hip. When you're ready, slowly release the left foot. Allow it to come down onto the mat. We'll take that over to the right side so the left foot stays where it is with the knee bent, and then draw the right knee in, interlace the fingers, flex the right foot. Again, try to extend the right foot just until you feel a small minor stretch into the back of that right leg, and then go ahead and release the foot down, pumping the foot up towards the ceiling and down again in a gentle pace. Easing into the back of the right leg. When you are ready, we're going to come into our half happy baby on the right side. So the right arm comes to the inside of the right knee and reaching for the outside of the right foot. Now, if you can't make a grab all the way for the right foot, you can always hold on to the right shin or even continue that grab onto the back of the right thigh and pull the knee down and in towards the right armpit. If you feel like you'd like to extend the left leg, we'll take that now. Anchor the left hip down with the left hand and breathe. Taking a day for restorative recovery in your workout routine, and just in life, can feel so good on your body and also on your mental health. Moving slow is mindful. Of course, it's very natural for our thoughts to keep moving. Just allow them to progress and return to your breath. Relax, breathe into the movements. Enjoy this time on your mat. We're going to keep the right leg or the right knee pinned where it is and then start to move into a full happy baby. Draw the left foot up. If you can, go for the grab, reaching for the outside of the left foot. And then draw both of the knees down towards the mat, to the inside of the armpits. Try to keep the low back connected towards the mat. You may be curling or rolling up with the tailbone. Depends on the flexibility into your hips and into the back of the hamstrings. So it's quite natural for that to happen, but do your best to try to feel the low back and the tailbone reach for the mat, creating this mindful movement so that over time you loosen up into the back and into the hips and eventually connect with the mat. When you're ready, we're going to go ahead and bring the legs together, shins together, Hands to the front of the shins and start to roll like a ball. Just massaging on the back of the spine. And perhaps coming up to a seat, or else pushing yourself up to a seat. From here, we're going to push up into a halfway lift. Grab a couple of blocks if you have them, especially if this is right away in the morning, one of your first movements of the day, coming to a flat back. So if you have your hands on blocks, adjust the height. We don't want to work too deeply into the back of the legs right away. Again, we want to ease into the low body and be as gentle as we can with today's practice. From here, let's go ahead and take a great big bend in the knees and allow the upper body to connect with the top of the thighs. And then let's go ahead and straighten the legs. It doesn't have to be super straight to keep the back nice and straight. And then once more, bend the knees. Allow the lower body to connect with the upper body torso. Lift up, come to a halfway lift, flat back, reach the tailbone up. And then from here, once more, bend the knees deeply. Last time, lifting up to a halfway lift. From here, we will bend the knees, allow the torso to connect with the upper thighs, and then you can keep your hands either on blocks or to the mat, or you can also reach the hands to the heels. We're going to kind of try to keep this connection between the upper body and the upper thighs and do some lifts coming into a full forward fold. But as we come into this forward fold, we want to keep this connection, and you'll feel a deeper stretch into the hamstrings. Now, once you feel it to be too much of a stretch, or if you start to get some separation from the upper body and the upper thighs, go ahead and start to ease off out of your forward fold. When you're ready, wherever you would like to place your hands, start to lift the glutes, lift the tailbone, keep the connection as the head drops down. And then as you inhale, still keeping the connection, but coming to more of a flat back, bent knee. And then again, lift the hips, lift the tailbone, drop the head. Keep as much connection between the chest and the upper thighs as you can. And then inhale, flat back, bending the knees. Exhale, lift. Inhale, bend the knees. We'll take two more here, just kind of pumping into the back of the legs. Waking up the low body. And on the last one, we'll come up to a flat back. You can go ahead and allow the torso to separate from the upper thighs. Turn the feet out at a diagonal, and we're going to lower down into Malasana or Yogi Squat. Of course, for lower body and hip health, we want to have our squats here. Go ahead and relax. You can bring a yoga block and place it underneath the tailbone if you need that for your Malasana. It's a great way to learn and also allow the hips to ease into more strength and mobility. Not to mention that this is a really big stretch into the ankles. So we may need to be up a little bit higher, even on our toes. We'll pause here in our Malasana. Inhale. And exhale. Chest is lifted. Stay wide across the collarbone. Try to keep a nice straight spine. Push into the knees with the elbows. When you're ready, let's lower the hands down onto the mat. We're going to step the left foot back, bring the right foot towards the front of the mat, lower the left knee down. Now let's walk that right foot to the outside of the right hand, coming into a lizard lunge. You can also have the hands up onto blocks. If you like to keep the torso a little bit higher, we're going to sink into that right hip and pause in our lizard lunge. If you feel ready and able to lower, you could come down onto the forearms, either forearms onto blocks or forearms all the way down onto the mat. Whatever suits you right away this morning. And if it's different from one side to the other, no worries. Just coming to your depth. And if you have more tightness in one side than the other, feel free to pause and spend a little more time on that side. Work into it. You can always pause the video if you need a little bit more time. When you're ready, let's go ahead and push ourselves up. I'm going to set my blocks just slightly out of the way for now. Walk the right foot back into center line. Push back with the hips coming into our half splits. So for our half splits here, again, we're not working intently or intensely into the back of the leg. So we're just going to allow ourselves to gently round, maybe even keep a nice bend in that right knee as we fold over the right leg. A gentle and passive stretch. This class is kind of a mix of vinyasa and yin with a few longer holds here. You'll find I have a whole section of classes like this where we move a little bit faster than you would in a traditional yin class. But yet we pause and take our time with mindful movements as we hold when we need to. If it feels good, you can also take a few point and flexes of the right foot. This kind of works more into the back of the right leg, allows the back of the nerves to glide more freely into the right leg. Pausing, hold. Now follow my cues for this transition. We're going to go ahead and come forward, bending into the right knee. Start to move the left foot off towards the left side of the mat. So it's pointed, towards the right side of the mat. Then we're going to shift back so that the glutes come behind that left shin, coming into a seated position. From here, we're just going to go ahead and take a hold, placing the right arm underneath that right shin, holding onto the right foot as we just kind of give our right leg a little rock, kind of like we're holding or cradling a small baby, and opening into the right hip. When you're ready, we're going to place the right shin, stack it on top of the left for a fire log posture or square pose. If this is too intense onto or into the hips, you can always place the right shin right in front of the left, and that will ease into a lot of that intensity you feel. So wherever you feel, go ahead and give it a shot. Sitting up nice and tall into your fire log pose. And then if you want a little more, you'll walk the torso over the top of the shins. Keep the hips connected with the earth so we're not rolling forward too far into the front of the legs. Stay connected. Maybe rest the hands down onto the mat. Pause here. Keep breathing. Give yourself a little smile. And when you're ready, let's go ahead and walk ourselves back up to an upright position. Go ahead and unravel the legs, but cross the ankles. We're going to go ahead and come through to a tabletop position and then move the left foot to the outside of the left hand, coming into our dragon posture here on the opposite side. Again, the hands can be down to the mat if you want to be a little higher. Use those blocks. They're the most used tool I have in my exercise equipment bag. I feel like I have yoga blocks throughout the house just in case I want to have them nearby. And if you feel ready, you can lower down either onto the mat or bring the forearms down onto blocks. Allowing the hips to sink down. But yet keep the chest slightly lifted. Maybe allow the eyes to relax the gaze. When you're ready, we're going to push up and then walk that left foot over towards the midline. Shift the hips back, coming into our half splits now on the opposite side. Being gentle with ourselves, so keeping a bend in the knee if it feels good. Some of us may be naturally very open into the hamstrings. My hamstrings always need a lot of convincing. So wherever you're at, allow the upper body just to round over. Usually we look for a flat back to work intensely into the back of the hamstrings, into the back of the leg. But we are here to restore and relax today. So allow yourself to just round over, allow the head and the neck to hang heavy, and maybe start to take a few of those pointing and flexing motions with the left foot. Notice how it feels into the back of the left leg as you activate more into the movement. And you can keep pointing and flexing if that feels good. This is your practice, but if you would like to return once to stillness, we'll stay here for about 3 more breaths. And now for the transition, we'll inhale as we start to bend that left knee, shift the hips forward, sweep the right foot across so it comes over towards the left side of the mat. And then we're going to go ahead and shift the hips back. You can walk yourself back with your hands so that your glutes come behind that right shin. Now the right shin is underneath the left. You can come once more into your fire log pose and stack the left hip on, or the left shin on top of the right. Again, if it's much too much, even if one hip is very different than the other, you can always set that left shin right in front. Starting up tall, and then allow yourself to fold forward. Whether the hips or the shins are stacked, or if you have one in front of the other, you can still do this forward fold. Come as low as is comfortable for your hips and into the outer hip flexors. And breathe. When you're ready, you can push into the mat to bring yourself back to an upright position. Go ahead and allow the legs to uncross, and we'll take a couple of windshield wipers here, just releasing at the end of the class. And then when you're ready, we'll all return to the center of our mat into a cross-legged seat. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Allow the palms to touch and draw them down through heart center as you close your restorative class. I hope you feel refreshed both mentally and physically after this class today. You should feel a nice looseness into the lower body. If you had any soreness, hopefully this helped ease off on some of that soreness so you can sit a little bit better, you can walk and move a little bit better throughout your day. As always, I hope you have a great day. Make it a good one. Bye.